All right. This is Sherman Crancer from Microsoft. Thank you so much for joining us today. So this is the third call in our partner profitability series. Today we have enabled the chat, the Q&A function on Skype for broadcast, and I do believe I'm going to be having LeadGen, who is my inside business development manager. She's a partner with this. She will be joining with us pretty soon and talking to us and hopefully assisting with the Q&A portion of the session. So today, it is Monday, 7/25/2018, excuse me, and we are talking about Project LeadGen, the partner profitability call. This is number 3 in the series, and we're going to be talking about identity access management and information protection within the Azure stack. Thanks again for joining today. So we've changed these calls up a little bit. In the past we had talked a lot about specifically Microsoft Community Connections and Project LeadGen. But the new vision for FY17 is to not only talk about Microsoft Community Connections and Project LeadGen and how we can help supercharge your business, but to also talk about different types of products that you could potentially sell or add to your lines of business that would help you increase revenue substantially and dramatically. It's not all about just the lead. It's also being able to understand what type of content that you can provide, or what type of product that you can provide to your clients, right? As well as and put together a fully packaged solution where you can increase your revenues significantly. So part of profitability is really about understanding the landscape, understanding where we're going right now with Microsoft and where technology is going in the future. I would think I'd be safe to say that to the partners, you've heard me talk about this a lot of different times, is if you're a project-based partner right now and you're just doing business on projects, and maybe you're just starting in the industry, one of the most difficult things with having that type of business is a very cyclical nature of revenues that are coming in. Well, it's like feast or famine type of scenario. Secondly, if you're a managed services provider, and we've kind of talked a lot about that as well, one of the great things is now you really kind of understand about recurring revenue streams. However, there's a lot of mistakes that kind of come along with that type of business, and I would say that it's really based around being everything to too many people or too many different types of groups. And lastly, we've talked about your own IP, packaged IP, and we'll get into that and kind of how to utilize this specific piece of Azure to actually create an IP that could bring you large margins and repeatable margins. So let's get back to some of the thoughts behind the partner profitability call. And this will be my tip of the week here is, take a step back, take a look at your business and ask yourself one very specific question, okay? And the question is going to be, is my business built to be a repeatable company where I can provide the same thing over and over again to a very specific base of customers, okay? And I think that if we're very honest with ourselves and when we're going out there and talking, we will understand that if you're an MSP or project-based, a lot of the partners here are trying to just get leads from anywhere. And strategically, you're putting yourself in a position that will not be scalable and will not allow you to grow very quickly and with large profit margins. So I think the idea behind these calls is really to help you, take a look at your business, reduce, let's say, the scope of the customer group that you're going after, right? And to actively look at the different products to create something that you can provide on a repeatable motion. A lot of our partners do talk, they have 1 to 5 business clients, 1 to 5 users. They have 5 to 50, 100 to 150, and some of them have, let's say, have 2 or 3 clients from 500 to 1,000. But if you really take a look at that, if you really see what's going on with that, while you might be doing well, within your business and it's starting to grow, the problem is that you have different marketing plans for your sales for your 1 to 5 group, right? You have a different marketing plan for your 10 to 50 or 100 to 250 users, but you also have a different operational plan, and that's where a lot of the partners who are building their business are possibly taking the long road around, because you can't accurately predict what type of resources are going to be needed for a large deployment, of a 500 or 600, user type of client. Conversely, if you do scale up and have those types of resources available for those types of clients, and then all of a sudden you have an influx of 10 to 20 user environment clients, now you've overstaffed, right, your current organization, and where does the profit margins go? So I think what we're doing here is really talking about the profitability scenarios and how to help you build your business and utilize the right tools to build it effectively. All right, so the agenda. What are we going to do? Partner profitability, super important. I already did 60 seconds on that. We're going to get into the specific container inside of Azure, and that's really the identity and access management, and using that piece of Azure to grow your business very quickly, kind of a beachhead type of scenario. We'll kind of get into the market opportunity. Next, we're going to talk about how to maximize profitability. We're going to go into very specific sales tactics that are a little bit outside of Azure, and then we're going to talk about how you can actually position identity and access management and actually use that as a beachhead. Once again, we provide a lot of great content here at Microsoft. We absolutely do. However, do we provide the content that's going to help you translate that type of, this particular product into actual sales and revenue? That's what we're going to finish off with the sales tactics motion. So we really hope that you can sit through this whole thing. Lastly, just a little quick item to cover. If you missed this broadcast here today, tell your friends about it. You can go ahead and access it at a later date, just clicking on the same link. So you can actually take this link and send it to your friends if they or colleagues that are in the business, if they want to hear about how to increase profit significantly. You can go ahead and send out that link, or go back to the last few weeks if you've missed number 1, hybrid cloud solutions through Azure, or you missed Power BI. You can go back to those. You can download them and just play them in the background and hear us talk a little bit about the different types of products and scenarios that are going to be really good for you. All right, so we went into the agenda. First thing is to understand, we have a very busy slide here, and what we're going to do is a little bit different. We're not going to go in and just read slides like this. What we're going to do is we're going to break it up. So on the top row, you're going to have your the customer needs, right? We're going to talk about that individually. Then we're going to get into the market opportunity, and then the partner opportunity, which is really important. Understanding that, because if you understand those individual specific items, now you're going to be like, okay, I understand it. This is how I sell it. This is how I put it together for potential customers, and this is how I'm going to package it all together. Then after that, we're going to go into the bottom row, which is more about understanding the different components of it, which is the identity and access management, the mobile device management, Intune, and then lastly, information protection. So there's a lot of different products here. We're going to go into the kind of in a real granular fashion. Perfect. Okay, so now let's talk about the customer. What is a customer thinking, right? So, and that's really, I think, one of the most important things about creating a successful sales strategy is understanding the psychology and the triggers that your customers, your current base of customers, or your potential next new customers are going to be interested in hearing, and problems that you're going to be there to solve. Right. So if you can start thinking like, how would your customer think with this, you're in a much better position to really provide proposals. And my whole idea, the whole mantra behind Project LeadGen, MCC, and the help that we provide here is, you have to change yourself, differentiate, be something different, be something remarkable, right? Be a partner that is a thought leader, and utilizing, that instance. Now we use that, and we want to be that thought leader. So we have to, do our homework and understand things, and that's really what the customer needs are. So if you look at that, one of the main customer needs that we found within this particular product set is the need to control and understand and have access to the corporate user identities, right? And knowing that they're utilizing a variety of what's called bring your own devices. It's been an explosion, in the small to medium-sized business market of bring your own devices. But one of the customer's biggest pain points is, well, how do I manage? How do I manage all these different users or endpoints? Before the past, they would have a secure network internally. You'd have to get in, through a VPN tunnel or whatnot, right, to actually access the network. However, it's becoming a lot more difficult to manage and extremely expensive utilizing that specific technology. So the customer is sitting there thinking, well, how can I actually protect it? Because before it was just one, we would allow people in specifically, right? But we wouldn't allow them in with all these different devices. So, they're going to be thinking about that. They're going to be thinking, oh my gosh, what do we do to secure this type of environment? So, the other thing too is that I think the customers are increasingly have a need to, manage the multiple device types, right? And actually running in multiple operating systems. What does that mean? What is the customer thinking? Well, the customer is sitting there, and let's say you have a 10 user environment, right? It could be a small to medium sized business, and this extrapolates these examples that I'm going to talk about. And it's what happens when they have an explosion of end user bring your own devices, the BYOD, right, from their current set of employees, right, having access. So they could have a set of employees that have Apple devices, right, or Android devices, or all different types of tablets running different types of platforms. So I think the customer is not just looking about how do we extend the corporate identity to mobile devices, but also how do we manage a lot of these different mobile devices. And we feel that with identity and access management using Azure Active Directory, these are one of the components that can help satisfy those customer needs. And then lastly, I think looking at data protection, cybersecurity. Oh my gosh. And I think utilizing EMS, Enterprise Mobility Plus Security, fastest growing product, Microsoft all time. There's some incredible metrics that just came out, but utilizing that is really for the SMB, the small to medium sized business, because they can't afford some of these super robust security platforms that are a bunch of internal actual on-prem resources and external resources sitting into a private data center. SMB doesn't have the wallet for that, but utilizing enterprise mobility and security can actually help with a lot of the different customer needs that are out there. All right, let's move into, what is the market opportunity? Now, this is what's really interesting, okay? What is the market opportunity for a partner like yourself to actually increase, their revenues, or actually take, share of that? So what we need to do is understand, where the market is, right? So we see 102% growth in the mobile device management market, okay, in the next 3 years. It's 102%, right? 62% of all small to medium-sized businesses now use mobility as a primary source of a medium to collaborate and actually work. SMB is no longer the brick and mortar business that is out there, right? It's no longer, oh, well, we need to have an office, a storefront where people remember who they are and what they're doing. We need to be mobile, right? So you're having your CEOs, your CMOs, your chief security officers, chiefs, sales officers, everyone's working mobile, these days. And that's really where we see the growth. And we also see 131% access and identity management growth over the next 3 years. And why is that? Because of the cybersecurity threats that are out there, the need for control of their whole environment. Your clients are currently thinking about this right now, whether they understand the target breach, whether they understand HIPAA compliance, whether they understand PCI compliance, whether they understand what is the potential for their business to shut down if there was a natural disaster or something happened. Security is actually on top of a lot of small businesses' mind. Also, if you extrapolate on that, small to medium-sized business is actually a target for cybersecurity or cyber criminals. It really is, because the ability to structure their current environments is probably less than a company who actually has an IT department and using the malware and the ransomware and all these different new types of threats. Small business is a big target, so the opportunity is absolutely amazing. It's huge. It's incredible. And understanding how to apply identity and access management through Azure Active Directory into an actual package that can be sold to a client will differentiate yourself from the rest. It'll help you become different, right? Because you're no longer the rip and replace guy. You're no longer the rip and replace partner out there that is maybe a VAR and trying to get a price quote for them. You're changing, and you're talking to customers about real world needs, real world problems for them, and that's really important to it. All right, so let's get into the partner opportunity. So partners today can actually utilize identity and access management in a way that they can create access portals for users to provide get into the applications and the data and the resources basically from any type of device that they're choosing. So if you take a step back, again, I always talk about taking a step back because I like to do that myself to kind of see, well, how does this apply, right? How does this apply to what I'm doing when I was a partner? And I think what this allows you to do is go to your clients and say, hey, we recently talked about Azure hybrid solutions, and hey, recently talked about Power BI. And now I want to talk to you a little bit about something different, and that's really how to secure your data and allow for applications to run seamlessly with all of your end users, right? And utilizing the key metric, that bring your own devices has exploded in the mobile workforce, and SMB has a big mobile workforce these days. So that's really, you're delivering end users applications, right? Workforce applications, data, resources, and kind of putting that and setting that on top of the whole idea behind Office 365, the Business Premium, and the Office 365 edition. You're basically taking that idea and saying, okay, hey, we're going to give everyone access. It doesn't matter what device they have, but Mr. Customer, I know that you need to have this, but we're going to help you make sure that it's secure. Next, the opportunity is centralizing the data, right? Classifying the information and allowing access to certain parts of the actual your environment, right? It's actually accessing that. And so the partner opportunity is being able to go in there, and instead of managing this network infrastructure that you may have spent so much of your time doing, now you're helping to manage data. Okay, you're helping to manage access at a different level. It's no longer just access, VPN access, or internal access rights, but now it's, okay, well, how do we do that? How do we provide that? And using this identity access management tool within Azure is really a great way to kind of move away from the bits and the bytes into this new partner profitability model. Next is creating a virtual workplace is another opportunity for you to provide a thought leadership motion with this. And what we really mean by that is, as an IT pro, it's really a great idea if you go in there and you're talking to these potential clients or your current customer base, and really talk about, hey, we need to have a centralized environment. Okay, we need to make sure that we pull all of our data and we have it in a solution where The only way to access it is through two-factor authentication, through access management and identifying who the user is, right? But it's really the partner has this opportunity to create something that the client can actually now use to manage that and help with their environment. So with that, we went over the customer needs. We talked about how customers are thinking, right? We talked about the market opportunity. It's absolutely exploding. So as a partner, you should be thinking, okay, maybe I can utilize this. And then we also talked about the partner opportunity and really utilizing things like cybersecurity as a way to get your foot in the door, or mobile device management, MDM. That's been out for a while, but utilizing it within the Office 365 environment and Azure is really a good way of extending your own recurring revenue streams, and that's really where the partner opportunity is. I'm going to pause right here. LeadGen is on the line right now too, and we do have a Q&A session, and if it's working for you and you're interested in or have any comments, please go ahead and type them in the window, and LeadGen's helping moderate this, and we'll be happy to help you or answer some of these questions for that. So next, we went over the top three. Now we're going to go over the next row, and that's really identity and access management, and let's explain that a little bit more to you. So single sign-on, multi-factor authentication. These are two that are really important ideas to understand, so that you can provide the client with the idea, the thought behind how they're going to be more effective, they're going to be more secure, they're going to have their information in the right place when they need it and when they need to use it. So over 2,500 software as a service apps are currently in our Azure cloud environment, and really basically allows you to utilize Azure Active Directory to basically centralize those user identities and within the on-premise and cloud environments. That hybrid cloud environment that we talked about is really important. Next, we're looking at for the partner, creating security reports and audit reports and utilizing multi-factor authentication. How does that help you as a partner? And let's look at the profitability scenario. You're bringing a solution to your clients. You're helping your clients, move into the wave of the next future, being able to bring the devices and have them secure. But you're also providing them with the ability to look at reports that are happening in. I think a lot of organizations, after they do a scan of the users that are currently have active access to their environment, they find that while they only have 10 people in the office, they might have 20 users that are in there. And you providing access to understanding that and managing it is a way that you can increase profitability, but increase your what I call the thought leader quotient. Let me go ahead and unmute LeadGen here. Hey, LeadGen, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much for joining us. Now we're doing a little pause here because we just want to bring LeadGen in here. But getting back to identity and access management, centralizing the access is really important. Self-service password, reset and group management, and then connection between the Active Directory and the Azure Active Directory are two components that are going to be really important for partner profitability. Now think about that. I think a lot of partners are kind of worried, gosh, infrastructure as a service, oh no, right? What's going to happen with that? Are we going to lose our jobs because, things are being pushed to the cloud? But you're not, okay, because you're going to have a hybrid cloud solution. You have on-premise. It's going to be tough to be said that all on-premise servers are going to be gone. So there's still a need for them. But now there's this new opportunity where you can make more money more margins, by adding Azure Active Directory. Okay, 2 points. Multi-factor authentication. This way you can centralize and secure your data. All right, so now we get into MDM. Some people, that's an acronym, mobile device management. You can use Intune, but the main part of this particular slide and this idea behind it is managing the devices, managing access, managing the ability to get certain types of information, also managing the individual devices, whether they have access to the corporate network or whatnot. I think protecting corporate apps and data is really important. So one of the neat things about using the identity access management is that you can set your mobile device settings, management and enrollment within that for your clients. And you can simplify it by utilizing a dashboard or a portal. And lastly, you can, establish, security policies and apps and devices. And I don't want to go through each bullet point and everything, but really think of it this way. You're helping them to manage this new explosion of interest of bringing your own devices. And if you're putting together a set policy for access, while some of the employees may not like that, may not like the fact that they have to put in a strong password or have multi-factor authentication, you're helping secure the customer and you're bringing this to their attention and you're helping that. Now, and the reason why I emphasize the word help, okay, is I'm emphasizing how you're creating value for yourself and your clients. Okay, you're creating value by being a thought leader, right? And you're talking to them about, hey, we can go ahead and manage all that. And if the employees, want to bring their own devices, no problem. But we're going to tell them, we're going to image the device and we're going to wipe it if you're no longer with, the organization. Or, you can put an app. You can develop an app to go on a mobile device that actually, uses Microsoft Azure Active Directory and allows them to get in, to their environment. So you can do a lot of different things, But I think the idea behind mobile device management is how do you help your client envision the possibilities of having a safe environment, right, within the marketplace. All right, so let's get into information protection, right? We talked about the HIPAA compliance, very big in the healthcare industry, the protection of everyone's information, right, their private information. And utilizing EMS, enterprise mobility and security, or utilizing identity and access management, you can really help protect the security. And we talk a lot about how partners, or not partners, but a lot of customers have very simple passwords, right? And I think we saw that with a lot of the data breaches in the past, right? But you can provide them with a comprehensive security policy that's going to help protect your corporate and your corporate data, right? And how I would maybe extrapolate on that is you're going to set policy for different types of users that are within an environment to have access to certain types of information, right? I mean, the chief sales officer or chief vice president of sales doesn't need access to the financials, right? Does marketing, need access to operations? Probably not, but utilizing this allows you to set policies, right, for your clients. And then you get to also talk about how, they can utilize an on-premise environment as well as a cloud environment, kind of that, hybrid scenario where they can have a disaster recovery option. And that's same thing, information protection. It's securing your data, but also thinking about the future. And that's how you position it, as a partner. That's how you position it to make the most margins, but also how you position it to differentiate yourself, right, from the competition. I don't know if our partners here want to be just like everybody else, but I sure didn't when I was a partner. And I think it's really important that you look at it that way as well. All right, so let's move into the three pillars that we talk about every single week, and that's going to be project-based services, managed services, and packaged IP. And I think if you look at this one, you need to look at the actual the market opportunity, right? So greater revenue per deal, 3 times, what we saw is a 3.6x multiplier on a 3-year deal by utilizing identity and access management, because you're extrapolating. You're not just selling that piece of it. You're adding other types of applications that will help your clients out. And we see 131% growth in identity and access management. I think the biggest thing, and the reason why you're seeing it even bigger, is not just because of bring your own devices. It's also because of the explosion of cyber attacks, right? So as a partner, you have a very unique opportunity to go ahead and create some sort of packaged IP that would not only just protect your clients, but take advantage of this brand new thing. So, I think the things are to focus on identity and access security. You want to talk about adding a mobile device, management center so you can manage all the different devices. And I think providing a managed services type of environment where you're actively ensuring those types of things are really where the partner opportunity is. So what we like to do is we highlight. So the first one, if you're looking at project-based services, we're seeing an average revenue of $50,000 to $150,000 with a margin of 35%, and that's just based on going into the client and taking a look at their environment and saying, okay, we're going to implement Azure Active Directory, identity access management. We're going to talk about your health checks. We'll do a project. Okay, we'll do an hourly project, and as we talked about with this, beginning of this call, it really comes down to, do you really want to have peaks and valleys? And while you're feasting, this one, 3-month period because you have this huge contract, what happens when it ends? And that's why we want you to think about, okay, how do we move it to the next thing? So as you can see on here, you can do a lot of things. I want you to remember the last one, that's really training, but we'll get into that in just a moment. Okay. So if you decided that you wanted to add a managed services, we see a stronger revenue between $25,000 and $75,000 with a margin of 45%. And really what that's bringing is bringing the identity and access management, but also taking that and managing the content, managing, the help desk support, bringing in a help desk ticket in, but also, managing, the web-based mobile device management tool, taking a look at, cybersecurity threats, or what users are in the environment, and that's how you're using it to sell managed services, because you're not using hey, we'll just take care of everything for X amount of dollars. You're really saying, okay, well, how do we secure a lot of these things, right? And then putting that into the managed services piece of it that you're doing for proposals. You're getting away from the project-based revenue, and you're saying, okay, I want a monthly ongoing scenario, and that's where you're doing managed service in there. But I will tell you one thing. If you take a look at these two specific columns, it's pretty darn busy, right? And we're going to get into creating a scalable engine here for your business. But notice they're really busy. There's a lot of things that are being provided there. So let's move into what we think is really where the money is, and that's really the third pillar. It's always about packaged IP. Average revenue $15,000 to $150,000 a month. And you're looking at a 65% margin, on that. And what is that? And that's really you going into, your Azure environment and creating these tools, creating the portals, creating the entryway, the gateway, the two-factor authentication, and actually selling that to the client, as a total package, as a thought leadership package that's going to help them, solve lots of different problems, right? I think we covered a little bit earlier about, project managed and packaged IP. We talked a little about project and managed. It's very hard to predict, very hard to have a scalable, repeatable motion, right? But when you have packaged IP, now you can actually focus on a specific vertical or specific size of customer, understanding, how many customers are in a particular segment, right? Are they, how most companies would term them mid-market, which is 50 to 150, end users. But packaging your IP allows you to provide something for a specific set of customers between a specific range, right? And then for you to be able to provision it and provide it on a repeatable scale, okay? If you're a managed services provider or a project services provider, you are specifically set on, hey, on the project side here, I'm going to help you understand this, readiness, assessment. If you're on managed services, you're like, yeah, we're going to do all these different things, and we can do everything, right? But you're setting yourself up, for potential failure, because, how do you know that that's going to be able to be successful, right? How is that going to be successful, in planning for the next, 24 to 36 months? It's really difficult. However, if you have packaged IP, you can take a very strategic approach to the way that you do your business, right? a very strategic way, you can say to yourself, okay, well, I know that I can make X amount of money. My margins are 65% if I were to focus on clients that have 50 to 100 users. Okay. And why is that important? Because you can say, okay, if I have a client that's between 50 and 100 users, I know how much it's going to cost to deploy that client, right? So now it's easy to calculate, your margins. If I have a client that's within that space, I can create one sales and marketing motion. I don't have to have a sales motion or a part of my website that's based for super micro businesses, and I have another website, another something, for medium-sized businesses. If you strategically think about your business and think about, okay, if I have a packaged IP, who is this going to be able to market to? Great. Now I'm in that group. Now I can have one sales plan, one marketing plan, right? And one product that it might be in 3 separate, flavors. It could be small, medium, and large. But when you're doing that over and over and over again, now you can anticipate your problems. You can anticipate the reason why somebody's going to be calling you. You can anticipate, a revenue stream because you already know what you have in there. And that's the big differentiator. That's the difference between project services and managed services, is how do you create this package within a very specific group of individuals, right? That's going to help you scale, help you grow quickly. I would say that it'd be very difficult, and I keep talking about this, but if you have clients in the 1 to 5 group, and the 10 to 15, and the 20 to 50, and the 50 to 100, and the 150 to 1,000, how do you scale that? How do you become the best in your industry? How do you differentiate yourself? Well, it's difficult. I go back to the other reference of, take 3 partners that come in to a proposal, and the IT director saying, hey, I need to replace a lot of this stuff because it's end of year, end of life, and the first 2 partners are coming in saying, oh, absolutely, thank you so much for your time, I really appreciate it. What I want to do is I want to go ahead and take all your devices, I'm going to rip and replace them, and oh man, your network is set up like this. This is terrible. Why do you have it there? Oh, your last IT person is terrible. A lot of these same things kind of come up in proposals, but those first 2 scenarios, those 2 partners that come in, their proposals could be between 6 and 8% difference, right? They're not going to be that big of a difference. But if you come in and you say, great, yes, thank you so much. I really appreciate this opportunity. However, let me ask a few questions first. I know hardware is a big issue for you, but let's talk about security. Let's talk about mobile device management. What do you know about it? Have you done any studies on, how your employees, get into this, get into the environment? Have you done studies on, how do we, secure different types of data? Have we siloed, our data center, right? Well, using packaged IP, right, and a repeatable motion, you know what you can do, and you know what you can do very well, and you know what you can do and what type of margins you're going to get. So remember, I think on a 1 to 5 user, your margins are a lot lower than a user that's between 150 and 200. So packaging the IP, and how do you do that really? And it's really coming down to the customer services portals, external portals for the end customer, pre-configured dashboards. And then online training. Now, this is where I wanted to bring back online training. We talked about that on the first part, right, which was the project services. So with that, we training by itself is an underutilized line item that almost every one of these IT professionals that are on the call should really start thinking about how they can do it, because it's really just your time, right? And you are the expert in the industry. You are the expert in this. And it's not just teaching them how to click and drag, right? It's teaching the customer or your embedded base of customers how to think in the future, okay? How to envision the possibility of secure collaboration, right? But training can be something that you can use as not only a great line of business, but also a way to help you cross-sell and upsell into other different types of products and services. If you're not a CIE facilitator, and that's customer immersion experience, I would suggest that you go find it, and I can even probably help you out with a coupon to the training. But CIE facilitators basically utilize the psychology of presentation to get their potential clients ready to buy. There's some incredible close ratios. So if you're not part of the CIE program, and you're interested in it, just email me and I'll send you access to that. All right. That was identity and access management. And now let's move into project lead gen sales tactics. And we're going to talk today about sales motions and strategy. So what I'm bringing up today is really important. And the reason why it's important is because you have to take a look at, what's going on today. What is going on, within the environment, and ask yourself a question: what is the main issue today for our field seller? Okay. I would say that the main issue today is having a command of sales acumen per se. I guess that's the way you can say it. Having a command of what it takes to grow your business and understand, the type of hard work, and getting away from the hope and pray attitude of referrals. So I think, that's the biggest thing. It's really no plan that's coming from our partners. And the plan aspect of it is, while you are great, while our partners are incredible at deployment and migration and these different types of information, I don't know if they're putting that same zest and zeal into learning about how to sell and how to market and what they need to do on a daily basis to ensure that they have profitability in their business, right? I would think if everyone here was to kind of talk about, or actually be honest and say, well, how much time do I spend on sales and marketing? I think you'd be astonished at the lack of time that's in there, right? So you have to plan, you have to strategize. Everything that you're doing needs to be a plan, needs to be a strategy. And, using the profitability scenario is great. You can identify the packages and how to sell those, but you need to have a plan, okay? A plan to sell. And, where that comes from is this 80-20 rule. I think where does your day consist of, right? Is it 80% implementation and 20% sales? Is it 90% implementation and 10% sales? Is it 98% implementation and 2% sales? Or is it the other way around? Okay. What I would suggest is you take a hard look at what you're currently doing. And if you don't have a plan in place as to what you're going to do on a daily basis, are you hoping? Are you praying that sales come in? Are you? Well, I remember as a partner in the very beginning, I hoped and prayed a lot. And I think today I try not to, because I try to plan for the future. And what I mean by this 80-20 rule is, what does your daily event calendar look like? Are you talking, what types of hours are you putting into sales and marketing efforts? If you're relying on the word of mouth and customer referral, peaks and valleys, we don't want that, right? So we have to focus, we have to plan, and we have to say, okay, every day I'm going to make sure I have at least 20% of my day, okay, allocated to sales and marketing. It doesn't have to be specific sales, but marketing. Okay, I have to pick up the phone between 8 and 10. I have to pick up the phone. I have to send out my Facebook post, my Google posts, my YouTube post, my Microsoft Bing. I got to look at my Bing ads. I have to look at my website, search engine optimization. I got to make sure that when people get to it, they're doing well by it. I need to record a couple 2-minute videos to post them to show my thought leadership. So you have to ask yourself, if you're sick and tired of hoping and praying and wondering where the next deal is, take charge of your emotions and what you do on a daily basis, and that will help significantly. Okay, if you have a dedicated hours between 8 and 10 every single day, sales plan, I would say that you should have between 8 and 12, but that's not everybody. Not everyone wants to be in sales and marketing as much. And I think that in many respects, a lot of partners who came out of the same industry I came out of, they have the 80-20 rule, and that's inverse. So they're 80% sales of the day and 20% is implementation. So really, the plan is based on, okay, just keeping yourself accountable to sales and marketing motions every single day, okay? And make sure that your motions are repeatable. Put together a checklist every day of what you're going to be doing from 8 to 10, okay? We saw a great article. There was a great article out today, and it was talking about Bill Gates and Warren Buffett and Oprah Winfrey, and what do they do every single week? They go by the rule of 5. And what the rule of 5 is they want to learn 1 hour of something new every single day. Okay, That goes into the whole thought leadership behind Project LeadGen and Microsoft Community Connections. A lot of partners have trouble with saying, well, I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert at Office 365, but I am at CRM. So therefore, I only want to do one product and one presentation. And I come back and say, well, hey, if I was a customer, why would I want to buy from you if you only know one thing? You're a technologist. You're in the industry. Shouldn't you know the basis behind search engine optimization, cybersecurity, CRM, Office 365, modernizing your data center, modernizing your platform, Azure, EMS? I would say that it would be in your best interest to, bone up every single day, 1 hour a day on the latest and greatest technology. Utilize that information when you're in your presentations out there, when you're selling to many, right? That shows that you take it seriously, that what you do. So put together the plan, put together a sales and marketing plan. You could have, 20% of your day is sales and marketing, and that could be learning something new, right? Or creating a new blog post or something to put up on YouTube, or creating an app. Lastly, sales and motion strategies allow you to have what I call the exit plan, right? There are a certain percentage of organizations, as well as IT professionals, that want to stay doing what they do for the rest of their life, okay? And I commend them. I think that's fantastic. I think there's also a significant portion of partners out there that are looking, well, how do I get an exit strategy? If I'm doing just project-based services, do I have a good exit strategy? What is the multiplier behind my annual revenue that I can potentially ask for? Right? Is it 5x? No, you're in project services. It's less than 1x. That's in my opinion. That's all I'd offer, right? But you have to have an exit plan. And the exit plan is behind recurring revenue streams, creating your own package IP, but having a plan to get there, knowing that, okay, I have my repeatable sales motions for, X customer group, right? That's what's really important. So, what is, your exit plan, and what is really successful mean? That's the question you should probably be asking yourself is, there are some partners that are really okay with, sub 50K in annual or in monthly revenues, right? And some, need to have $100,000 in annualized revenue. So, who knows what you think is successful? However, marketing to many, having a very specific plan, understanding what you're doing on a daily basis is going to help your business, I think, immensely grow to what you want to get it to. All right, now we talked about, there's a soapbox. Let's get into identity access management selling ideas. Okay, so I talked about this with the Power BI program. It's when you're out there and you're in the trenches and you're talking to customers and you're getting a lot of no's, and you're talking about proposals. I think you've got to flip the script a little bit. You got to think about the psychology of your customer, right? So what I would suggest is really talk about or position the idea of what can happen, right, with this visionary leadership. Talk about, what you're going to be able to do to bring, security to their environment. Talk about the latest security breaches, the target, the HIPAA compliance, massive data breach, Anthem, and talk about, the different security issues with bringing your own device. That's how you're positioning, but you're really positioning the thought leadership idea and premise behind this whole thing. Okay, that's what you're doing. So talk about, find out about the psychological triggers. Talk about, what happens in a breach, right? What is the next thing that could happen in a breach? And then, talk about training and self-paced learning. Okay, that's what you can utilize by going in there and one of these continuing training, continuing learning, right? Could be a part of a packaged IP program, right? But I did skip over one of the bullets, and that's really what we try to drive at here is price is not the driver. Price is not the driver when it comes to positioning products. Okay, it's the idea. Okay, it's the, hey, can you get them to understand? Can you get them to envision the possibilities of being more secure? Envision the possibilities of what happens if they are not secure, right? Talk about that. Try to figure it all out. So that's pretty much what it is. Anyways, thank you everyone so much. I really appreciate it. I'm going to unmute LeadGen here because she's an important part of our programming. She just came back on. And I want LeadGen just to, once again, reiterate, who she is, what she does for our partners, and, how you can get in contact with her. LeadGen, are you there?
Yes, hi, I'm here.
Oh, perfect. Could you just kind of talk a little bit about, what you do and how you help our partners out, register for events, et cetera, et cetera?
So basically, I'm Sherman's partner in MCC, and what I do is I help reach out to association and organization and help partners connect with their community and set up events and help them grow their business through the help of MCC. And my email is v-yijon@microsoft.com. So feel free to email me and I can help answer any questions for you.
Perfect. Jen, thank you so much. We really do appreciate that. She's my partner. She's we love working with her. She's really always got a lot of energy, and she's here to help the partners, help MCC partners increase their business with their ideas, and help get into organizations. So look, if you're interested in the Project LeadGen call, we have it up on Eventbrite now. We're gonna have all the links associated with every different invitation. If you're interested, Project LeadGen is a self-paced learning program to help you understand how to supercharge your business by utilizing Microsoft Community Connections and webinar and seminar selling. There you go. Take a look at that. We have a Project LeadGen planner that actually LeadGen and I use with the partner. So download the planner so we can know where you're at in the evolution of the idea of what Project LeadGen and MCC is, so we can work with you significantly. Lastly, you have my contact information down there as Crancer@Microsoft.com, 949-475-3214. I put my cell number on there. I must have been tired last night, but feel free to give us a call. Call me, call LeadGen. We're all here to help. So next week, I think we're going to be talking about enterprise mobility and security specifically. Don't miss it. It's going to be a fantastic seminar, webinar on that. It doesn't look like our Q&A session worked all that well because we didn't see any that come in, but we're going to be working on that too. Okay, every time it's going to be a little bit better. Now, remember, you can always view this and download this webcast after it's all done. Everyone, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. I'm here to help. I have a lot of passion to help you if I can. So call me if you need me, email me if you need me, email LeadGen and email the team. Thanks so much and have a great day. Thanks again, everyone. Bye-bye.